Listen to what he said about bringing down the price of prescription drugs. Listen here.
I negotiated directly with the drug companies and foreign nations, which were taking advantage of our country for many decades, to slash prices on drugs and pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 600%.
Well, if you cut something by 100%, the cost goes down to zero. If you cut it by 4, 5, or 600%, the drug companies are actually paying you to take their product. So it raises the question, how much of last night's speech was hyperbole and how much was fact?
No, what he's saying is you bring it, if a drug was $100 and you bring the drug down to $13, right? If you're looking at it from $13, it's down 7 times.
It's not a 600%.
Well, but it's 700% higher price before. It's down 700% now, right? So a $13 would have to go up 700% to get back to the old one. So it all depends on when you look at it. You could say it's down 87%, or you could say it would have to go up 700% to be the same one. So it just depends on what you look at it. But basically what he's saying, and we all know what he's saying, is we are hammering the price of drugs down. That's what's happening, and he's announcing it all the time. He's got more announcements even between now and the end of the year.
I gotta say, if sacrificing your dignity on national television was a sport, Howard Lutnick could represent the United States at the Olympics. This guy is literally reinventing math in deference to Trump. Math does not work like that. When Trump says that Americans are getting 600% off their prescriptions, no, that is not the same as getting 87% off their prescriptions because, and I hope you're sitting down for this because this might get a little wonky, 600 and 87 are entirely different numbers, which one might think would be an important note for the Secretary of Commerce, and yet here we are. And look, of course Lutnick is defending this because this is what the job entails, blindly defending every inane thought that falls out of Donald Trump's face. The problem for Lutnick is that this wasn't even just a one-off. Trump has been parroting this farcical nonsense for months. Just a few weeks back, he took to Truth Social with an announcement of sorts about the midterms. He wrote, quote, "Because I have invoked favored nation status for the United States of America, drug prices are falling at levels never seen before, 500%, 600%, 700%, and more. No other president has been able to do this, but I have. This is also the answer to much less expensive and far better healthcare. Republicans, remember, this was done by us and nobody else. This is a revolution in medicine, the biggest and most important event ever. If this story is properly told, we should win the midterm elections in record numbers. I am the affordability president. Talk loudly and proudly. President DJT." Again, Trump says that drug prices are falling 500, 600, 700% and more. I'm going to do this thought experiment again because apparently it's going to take a while for all of this to really sink in. Let's say that there's a bottle of Advil that costs $10. 500% off of that means you would get paid $40 for buying Advil. 600% off means that you would get paid $50 for buying Advil. As the numbers grow, you get paid more money. Now, admittedly, it has been a moment since I went out and bought Advil, mostly because the headache that used to be so jarring has, thanks to our disastrous political climate, turned into my new normal, and there is no medicine on the market that is capable of softening the hellscape in which we currently reside. But all of that aside, I highly doubt that anyone in this country is getting paid to buy drugs. I can also say with a high degree of certainty that Donald Trump knows that. And the people around him know that. So it's not that they're too stupid to stop him from repeating this, it's that Trump thinks his supporters are that stupid. So my message to all of you who do support Trump or who voted for this guy, does someone who has that much contempt for you deserve your support? If my elected officials lied to my face, recognizing that I do not owe my support to anyone and that no one is entitled blindly to my support, I would find someone who actually deserved it. So I'd ask all of you to do what Donald Trump refuses to do and treat yourself with some respect. But that aside, Trump says that he invoked favored nations for the US, and because of that, drug prices are falling. Small problem though. What he actually did was sign an executive order allowing drug companies to voluntarily lower their prices. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the pharmaceutical industry in the United States of America, but they have not been raising their prices by predatory criminal amounts for decades, simply waiting for a president to come along who will give them voluntary permission to lower their prices. In fact, On the day Trump signed this executive order, May 12th, drug companies' stock prices actually rose. Shares of Gilead rose 7%, Merck climbed 5%, Pfizer, Bristol Myers Squibb, and Amgen climbed more than 3%, and Eli Lilly rose more than 2%. If drug companies were just forced into submission to lower their prices, you would not see their stock prices surge. In reality, they likely rose because while the market probably priced in something that wasn't entirely toothless, and when they saw that Donald Trump actually put forward something that was, it was a giant sigh of relief that in effect, Trump pulled a completely toothless PR stunt. If I was a big pharma CEO, I'd have probably been relieved too. According to CNBC's coverage of Donald Trump's May executive order, Monday's executive order seems to be more of a headline risk than the sweeping shift for the pharmaceutical industry many had feared, BMO market analyst Evan Seigerman said. He pointed to the uncertain path forward for the plan, saying it could be more rhetoric than actual implementable policy. Seigerman added that Trump appeared to be somewhat sympathetic to U.S. manufacturers, with the president arguing that European nations are not supporting drug research and development due to their lower prices. Anderson said the pharmaceutical industry may be breathing a sigh of relief today, pending further details on what the administration's retaliatory actions could look like. Trump's order suggests that it is ultimately voluntary for drug makers to lower prices and subsequently profits. So he did not propose something that is mandatory and really has teeth here. In other words, Trump gave himself a PR win, but when it actually comes to discernible policy changes, per usual, nothing for Americans. It is all about optics and window dressing while ensuring that nothing actually changes for his own constituents. Consider, too, Trump and Republicans have been promising their big, beautiful healthcare plan for a literal decade now. I mean, honestly, how much longer can they string you along like this?
Have no choice but to absolutely replace Obamacare, and we're going to come up with a much better plan. We're going to come up with a great health plan, and this is a great plan. Wait till you see the plans we have coming out literally over the next 4 weeks. We have a plan coming out, an additional plan coming out in a very short period of time. We're going to have fantastic health care, and the plan is coming out over the next 4 weeks. We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks.
9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. You already have the concept of the plan, and it'll be much better health care. What the plan is? Yeah, well, we'll be announcing that in about 2 months.
In fact, far from delivering better health care, Republicans have been unilaterally responsible for efforts to take it away. Remember, they tried 77 times to repeal Obamacare, despite having no replacement whatsoever. This year, they've passed the One Big Beautiful Bill, which guts Medicaid for 17 million Americans, and most recently, they refused to vote in favor of extending ACA subsidies, meaning starting in 2026, we will see healthcare premiums surge 2, 3, 4, 5 times higher than what they are right now for 24 million Americans. So I'm sorry, but anyone who truly believes that Republicans gave a fraction of a shit about healthcare for Americans might want to pay attention so that they can better distinguish Republicans' words from Republicans' actions. But finally, the most insane claim of all, that Republicans should win the midterms in record numbers because Donald Trump is the affordability president. Now look, I get that Donald Trump saw a bunch of Democrats win on November 4th because they ran on actual affordability agendas, but he should know that the only reason those agendas resonated was because the country that Donald Trump has presided over is expressly not affordable, which would be bad enough unto itself. But even worse considering Trump quite literally predicated his entire 2024 campaign on affordability. He went on and on and on about how Biden raised the cost of everything and that how he and he alone will bring those prices down. And yet now, 11 months into his presidency, the cost of everything has surged. Electricity prices are up, food prices are up, clothing prices are up, electronics, cars, rent, housing, construction, all of it more expensive because Trump doesn't actually care about lowering prices. He just says words that sound good and then helps himself and his rich friends in the end. And he's doing the exact same thing right here, basically just declaring by fiat that he's the affordability president with no real plan to usher in actual affordability. Again, Trump is marketing, he is window dressing, he is PR. There's no actual governing happening here. There's him saying words that he thinks sound nice and then him golfing and painting things in gold. That's it. So Howard Lutnick and the rest of these sycophants can go on national television and lie until they're blue in the face, but not only are they failing to persuade anyone of what they're saying, they're actually doing the opposite. They are broadcasting to their supporters that they have nothing but disdain for them, so much so that they would lie right to their faces in the way they're doing right now. And if you think those people aren't slowly wising up to the con, the most recent election results tell a much different story. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.